some of you are midnight advisors, wanting to preserve the little spaces that you are holding in this sector and misadvising decision makers at all levels just so that you continue driving that Range Rover. Stop it. This is a communications sector that we are talking about. It's not just about you guys who are providing connectivity, who began your life as deployers of infrastructure. It's also about those people who are missing in this room. The young software providers, the young influencers, some of them not so young like me, entrepreneurs who are supplying contracts to government, and 9 months later they have not been paid for the important ICT work that they've done, and they don't have a desk in the Ministry of ICT. And I'm not taking away from them. Post House, congratulations, you have a desk in the Ministry of ICT, but you count how many letters we are sending today and see how deserving you are of that desk. If I choose to be diplomatic, my brother was very diplomatic. Oh, he's a diplomat, the DG. He said, it's not me who said this. It's Machiavelli who says this. That's a disclaimer. But he was spot on. If your door is not open to advice, then you're not going to benefit from the wisdom of the wise ladies and gentlemen who are going to walk through it. And we won't look at you as wise. But fortunately, we have a wise minister whose door, we were told in 2025 here, was open. And the DG, I remember in 2025 says, be circumspect about who's walking through your door. Please, Minister, be circumspect about those people who want to maintain the status quo. Be circumspect about those people who want to keep us 30 years ago, when we have an aspiration clearly articulated in NDS 2 of where we want to be with ICT at a time which we are marking generally and calling it when we have attained middle income economy status. And that's not really the goal. It's just the words that we're using, because you will have seen that once you have a middle income economy, it doesn't mean that everybody is happy. It doesn't mean that there's no poverty. There are so many other sub goals in there. And in the communications sector, one of the goals we would like to see articulated each time NDS 2 is mentioned, we want to see everyone with a device. Not just the pupils, every citizen with a device that is competent for all the services they may want to access and enjoy. With due respect again to my colleague from Post House, I don't want, when I go to my rural areas, to look for a post office to access public services. No. I want my device where I am in my village business unit for me to be able to access from my device. I don't want anyone coming in between. So I'm tired of digital centers and community information centers. That's a township of digital services. Because these digital services are supposed to be available wherever I am, whenever I am, and they must be affordable, they must be reliable. Have you forgotten that these are our goals? So we have the policymaker, we have the regulator, we have the implementers. And the implementers, we have infrastructure providers. So maybe, as I was saying last year when I was here, to Portras, maybe you need to rebrand from Portras to Communications Authority of Zimbabwe. Maybe TOAS, you need to rebrand from TOAS to being an infrastructure company, because essentially that's where you start your life for us, consumers, providing the infrastructure. So a priority in 2026 is, let's stand back, let's look at our infrastructure requirements. Let's not look at them from the perspective of the viability and sustainability of the companies who are in there. Let's look at it from the perspective of the goals that we want to attain in NTS2. And you'll find that some answers are already there. I haven't heard anyone from Telecel here. Is there anyone from Telecel? Okay, good. You know what? When Telecel was facing shareholder challenges, we went back to first principles and said, what's the license that's enabling Telecel? It's an empowerment license. I was there, and I can speak authoritatively about how that license came to be. It's about empowerment. And then some empowerment entities went and grabbed these licenses. So he says, okay, let's stand back and say empowerment. Why don't we empower subscribers to resuscitate Telecel and reintroduce competition? The proposal is there in the ministry's archives. There are subscribers who are ready to make sure there is more competition in there. When we were talking about infrastructure sharing, we were talking about the very policy initiatives that will make sure there's infrastructure that is reaching everybody. And while we are on that, it is so not true that the USF is a tax on operators. No, yet. The USF is not a tax on operators. We have met some of you operators at the portfolio committee in Parliament claiming that we don't even know how that money is used. It's not your money, operators. The USF is not a tax on you. That's why it's a tax on revenue. And Minister, please don't be led to take these arguments and look like you don't have good background in 2026. The USF is a contribution from us consumers into the coffers of the public authorities so that we can cover underserved areas. We do have proposals which didn't see the light of day, which were looking to increase the USF from 1.5% to maybe even 5%, so that we have money to do the sector development work that is required. And operators should stop claiming it to be a tax on them. So if you want to reduce in your minds tax, start by striking off USF from a tax on you. You're just collectors the way Zinara is collecting the broadcasting license. You're just collectors of that money, but it's money that's coming from consumers. And in 2026, Minister, let's have clarity on that, because we'll keep confusing each other and not going forward. That USF fund has got many purposes that it will serve. You'll see in Section 74 of the Act, even local authorities are part of the beneficiaries of that money. So we must be very clear.